Well, let's bring in our political panel, host of the Grace Curley Show, our friend Grace Curley, and the chairman of the Fort Bend County Republican Party and host of the 13-minute news hour, Bobby Eberle. Welcome to you both. Yeah, there was an old joke that it took some people 2 hours to watch 60 Minutes, Bobby, but apparently you could speed through an hour in 13 minutes on this podcast. I'm going to have to listen.
Hey, man, I'm a rocket scientist, so I got time warps involved, all sorts of stuff.
All right, let's get serious. You're from the great state of Texas, as I mentioned, all about law and order. But what about these blue states and cities like Cincinnati? You look at this video, I'll put some more up. The vice mayor, as I mentioned, a Democrat, said today, this was just some adults having a little dispute, Bobby. What say you?
Yeah, you know what? When she said that, it reminded me of Ilhan Omar and Some People Did Something, referring to 9/11. I mean, they try to downplay these incidents, and one of the reasons why is because it doesn't fit the narrative. In other words, you know, the racial makeup is not what pushes the Democrat agenda. That said, this is just another case of what happens when you don't have law and order, when you allow lawlessness. You see these incidents in Chicago all the time, people jumping on cars, rioting, looting. I mean, this becomes the norm if people do not enforce basic laws, basic civility, and demand some accountability from their law enforcement and supporting law enforcement as well.
Yeah, and Grace, to that point, you know, we had a discussion in our newsroom a little while ago because some of the early video we had showed this poor woman's face who was sucker punched, in the words of the vice president, and her dress was sort of pushed up and it looked unladylike. And I'm thinking, this poor woman's laying on the street. And so men and women in our newsroom, Grace, were like, let's blur that out. That's why we're not showing you. And so you're not seeing her face, frankly, looked like she was dead, and she's still alive now. And so we're trying to be sensitive. But I guess my point is, how is Newsmax more sensitive than the vice mayor or the mayor or the city council, Grace?
Or the people all standing around and just filming this, to your point, Ed, and to Bobby's point. I mean, it doesn't fit the narrative, and so no one really cares. And if this were reversed, it would be everywhere. But I also just want to point out, because Vice President J.D. Vance is all over this story, obviously his connection to the mayor or the potential mayor, but also because of the words that he spoke about this today. And I think it's really important to note that we have someone who's so resolute in condemning this kind of violence. How refreshing. He's unfaltering in his words. He's unfaltering in the fact that we need law and order. And when you compare that to what we had not very long ago with Kamala Harris, and really with an entire administration that was embarrassing itself on the world stage at every opportunity, it's so different to see someone get out there and say, this is wrong, this is why, and here's what we're going to do about it.
Well, and Bobby, on that point, the Biden-Harris administration may be gone, but the same old Democrat leaders are there, whether it's Schumer and Pelosi and various levers of power. And you look at the Wall Street Journal, Bobby, and this poll of approval for the Democrats, their lowest approval rating, 33%, in 35 years. So this is not Newsmax and Fox saying it. This is major news organizations, and CNN has a similar poll, by the way, Bobby, as you know. Have Democrats finally hit bottom?
Well, you want to say yes, but I really don't think so. I think there's more bottom to come. I mean, because after the November elections, they were supposedly doing soul searching, trying to figure out what they could do better, how to actually relate to the people. And instead you see it like on your previous segment, Swalwell doing this, you know, one plate bench press things, and they can't relate, and they keep sinking farther and farther down because they don't have the policies behind them.
Grace, I see you laughing at the idea. Have they hit bottom? What's your answer?
They're having an identity crisis. Soul searching is exactly what they needed, and they clearly did not do it enough, or they didn't get anywhere, because it seems like they're torn between like these fake moderate octogenarians like Nancy Pelosi and these new radical wave of young socialists like Zohran Mamdani, and they don't really know which way to turn. So instead, they're pivoting back to the only thing they know how to do, which is obsess about Donald Trump. And that's just not moving the needle, especially because he's not running again. He's made that clear on NBC with Kristen Welker. And so this constant obsession with Trump is not working, but they really don't have a strong core belief system to kind of fall back on. And so you're seeing this floundering. And I agree with Bobby. I think that we have a lot further to fall in this case.
Well, I think the Trump-Vance team will love to hear that one. Bobby, Grace, appreciate your time as always. Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks so much.
All right, friends, thanks again for tuning in. I really appreciate it. And before you go, please hit that subscribe button above. Once you do, tell your friends, share it, spread the word about the 13-minute news hour so we can keep growing. And for more great content, check out these videos right here, and I'll see you next time.